get news from elsewhere, maybe even the news of our own societies, very often it's superficial. Very often it tells us, we see explosions, but we don't know why they happen. And what literature gives us, I believe, still, is the lived experience of the world. What would it be like to live in Afghanistan? What would it be like to live in Pakistan? What would our lives, what would our thinking be like if we were living in contemporary Egypt? And I think that what you find in literature are the answers to those questions, which remain mysteries if all you do is read the news. An American friend of mine recently read a wonderful novel, Egyptian novel, called The Yacubian Building, and she said that it taught her more about the situation in Egypt than everything she had ever read in the newspapers or seen on television. You could say that would also be true. I mean, there's a wonderful generation of young writers in Pakistan now, and I think if you really want to understand what's happening in Pakistan, you could read some writers like, just for example, Muhammad Hanif or Kamila Shamsi, and they will shed light on Pakistan in a way which is a country I think we need to know about, because it's a flashpoint of so many things right now. But these creative artists can show you that country much more truthfully and in much more depth than the news. There's the novel that won the Pulitzer Prize in America last year is a novel called The Orphan Master's Son, which takes you inside a very, very closed society, North Korea, and opens up you talk about magic realism. North Korea is magic realism made flesh. It makes Garcia Marquez look like a news report. And this novel shows you exactly how insane that country has become under the leader with the bad haircut, who wants everybody else to have the same haircut. There are things you can't make up, and that haircut is one of them. There's a young American writer just published his first book of short stories called Phil Klay, K-L-A-Y. You should remember this name because he is somebody who was a serving soldier in the American army in Iraq. And he's come back from the war and studied literature and written a collection of short stories called Redeployment, which I think is the most illuminating stuff written about Iraq by anybody yet, certainly from the American side. I think there's stories of men at war which you could compare with Hemingway. And certainly I read these stories and understood the reality of the American army in Iraq in a way that I've never understood before.